This is a bit of biology with Mr. Rock, and today we're going to be doing a Unit 4 review on energy flow, but also we're going to do a Unit 5 review on cell division. We're going to start with the energy flow, and this is going to be the only slide that you see for energy flow. And there are two main things that I need you to take away from this unit. Those are the equations for photosynthesis and the equations for cellular respiration. So photosynthesis, the first thing that I'm going to start off with is you need to know that photosynthesis is done by chloroplasts. Chloroplasts is an organelle that's found in plant cells, and the reactants for photosynthesis, those are the things that go into the equation. So the things that go into the chloroplast to make photosynthesis happen: sun, H2O stands for water, so you could write water in there as well. And then carbon dioxide is CO2. So those are the reactants. Those are what plants need in order to make oxygen, which is O2, and glucose, which is food. So that's the process of photosynthesis. The process of cellular respiration is taking glucose and then turning that into ATP. To be clear, mitochondria are found in both plant and animal cells. With this, glucose and oxygen are the reactants for cellular respiration. So glucose and oxygen is what goes in. And then the products of cellular respiration, once again, CO2, you see that again, and that's carbon dioxide. H2O is water. So two of the products you breathe out every single day, you breathe out carbon dioxide, you also breathe out water. But then the whole purpose of making this is to make cellular energy, which we call ATP. So the purpose of this process of cellular respiration is to make ATP. The last thing here on the bottom, I would really make a point of this. Star it. Please make sure you have an understanding of it. This down here is why we even learn about this unit. It is the process of energy flowing throughout an ecosystem. So the first arrow represents photosynthesis. Sun energy is converted into food energy. Light is converted into glucose. That process we call photosynthesis. The next flow of energy is we're going to take that food energy, we're going to take that glucose, and we're going to turn it into cellular energy, which we call ATP. So the flow of energy, energy flow, that's what this unit is called. The flow of energy is sun energy into food energy into cell energy. So now we're going to move on to cell division. Cell division, also kind of a smaller unit. It's a smaller unit, so that's why I broke it up into, put two units in one video. So this first slide is about mitosis. That is cell division, where we create two new cells. Things to point out about these new cells that are being made. New cells that are made in mitosis, the cells are going to be diploid. That means they have two sets of chromosomes. So they have a set from mom and a set from dad. These new cells that are made in mitosis are also somatic. So that means they are non-sex cells. Somatic cells are things like your hair, skin, muscles, blood. Those are all somatic cells. They're not being used for sex. And then finally, these new cells are going to be genetically identical to the parent cells. So they're going to be clones of the parent cells. I got a simple image of mitosis over here. I would definitely recommend writing that down. You have the parent cell in the beginning with 46 chromosomes. The DNA is going to double, and then the cell is going to divide, and the daughter cells are going to have 46 chromosomes like the parent cell. So you start with one parent cell, and then you get two daughter cells at the end. Just to be clear, when I'm talking about the chromosomes here, I'm talking about chromosomes in humans. Humans have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. Down at the bottom here, I have a more detailed layout of mitosis. Remember, interphase is where most of the cell spends most of its life. That's interphase. It's the prologue, so it's not an actual step of mitosis. Then you go into the 4 steps of mitosis: PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Prophase, the nucleus disintegrates, centrioles form. Metaphase, meta is middle, they line up in the middle. Anaphase is backing away. And then telophase looks like a little letter H, or like a peanut or something like that. And you got 2 new cells forming, and the chromosomes are in their respective corners. The epilogue for this beautiful story would be cytokinesis, and you have 2 new daughter cells at the end, each with 46 chromosomes. Meiosis, then, is similar to mitosis because it is cell division, but now we are doing cell division in order to create sex cells, which is either sperm or egg. These new cells that we make in meiosis are going to be haploid, so they're only going to have 1 set of chromosomes. They are going to be gametes, which gametes is a fancy word for sex cells, either sperm or egg, depending on your gender. The new cells that we make in meiosis are going to be genetically different than the parent cell. And they're also going to be genetically different from each other. Each sperm, each egg that is created is genetically unique. So we're getting genetic variety here. And then the last thing that I'll point out is meiosis is mitosis twice. So you do prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis once, and then you go through that whole entire process again. So we don't have the big meiosis picture with all the chromosomes dividing. You did an Oreo lab in this class where you did little Oreos and you broke them apart, and then you did sprinkle chromosomes. It was kind of a fun lab, but this is the picture I'd like you to get here. We are doing a human cell again. We start with the parent cell, 46 chromosomes. Then it undergoes 1 division, it becomes haploid, and they have 23 chromosomes, and then it undergoes another division, leaving 4 new daughter cells at the end. And those new daughter cells are either sperms or eggs, and they're going to one day meet another egg or another sperm, and that's how babies are made. The last thing we're going to talk about in this video is asexual versus sexual reproduction. The reason why we're talking about this here is because asexual reproduction is done through the process of mitosis, and sexual reproduction is done through the process of meiosis. So let's talk about asexual reproduction first. There are definite pros to asexual, and that is it takes a short amount of time and it takes very little energy to reproduce with yourself. So bacteria reproduce with themselves, and they just do mitosis. They clone themselves, and then their little babies are little clones of them. It's a really convenient system as far as making a lot of offspring very, very quickly. A drawback for this would be bacteria are more susceptible to diseases, or if you do mitosis, asexual reproduction, like if I did that and I was susceptible to the Black Plague and I created millions of Mr. Rocks and I was susceptible to the Black Plague, my whole entire race of Mr. Rocks can get taken out with a single disease, which is kind of bad. And the reason for that is because there is less genetic diversity in my population. So when you make clones of yourself, there's less diversity amongst you. So let's jump over to sexual reproduction, meiosis. You have a better understanding of this because this is sperm meets egg, taking 2 to tango. So the pros of this is the offspring are different than the parents, and this leads to more genetic variation. Genetic variation is a very good thing in biology, especially when it comes to evolution. So if the plague comes around and we are doing sexual reproduction, and there's millions of people, not millions of Mr. Rocks, the plague takes out half of the population. Really bad thing, but there's still survivors at the end because some are immune to the disease. The cons is it takes more time to reproduce, and then it also takes more energy. This has been a bit of biology with Mr. Rock, signing off.